Okay, episode number 8, and today we have 2 guests, Dan and Romana. So you guys are here to tell us about shit that pisses you off that you want to put into Room 101. Go for it.
First?
No, you go first.
Oh, shit. Right, okay. So we had a discussion earlier about this. I'll be honest, we haven't come very prepared. There's a reason why Romana's here, is because between the two of us, we can bullshit our way out of this situation. Okay, so the first one that actually gets us both is the whole LFG mentality. That's what we call it, right? So LFG, and if you don't know this new woke term, it stands for let's fucking go.
Go where? Where are you going?
Go fucking where, exactly. Now, this all aligns itself with the mentality in prep when you are in the trenches.
Going to war, putting your war paint on. No, you're not fucking putting your war paint on. You're putting pro-tan on and putting on a pair of budgie smugglers. Or a sequin bikini.
Exactly.
And high heels.
You are not going
Eating
to war.
rice cakes.
There are not bullets going over your head.
It's actually so funny you said that, because the guy we had on previous podcast that actually hasn't even aired yet. That's what he said. That was his point.
Oh yeah, who was it?
His first point was bodybuilder talk. So LFG, you know, like the little emojis that go with it, like the little rocket and shit like that. You know, and landing the plane and referring to yourself as we, as a singular, all that annoying shit. And also the other thing you said about relax, like you're just putting on a pair of pants and some fake tan. That Dan McNabb talked about as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, so we've already talked about this. I'm happy to go into it again, but if we keep it a little bit short, because we had it in the last episode. So yeah, just what sort of shit do you see and how fucking annoying is it? Elaborate, please.
I don't know, it seems to be this sort of sweeping statement here, but you know, maybe your 1 or 2 show, your first show, second show kind of mentality, where it's like, nobody's forcing you to do this. Prep is a privilege. If you're well enough to do prep, then that's a good start, you know? And I find it a bit insulting. Like, you got actual military personnel in wartime situations, and then you've got somebody eating a mug cake thinking that they're going to war, and skinny syrups and stuff.
And there's this whole perspective as well. Sorry, the whole perspective as well. Like, people go, oh mate, like, yeah, all right, in prep you're gonna be hungry. Like, physiologically, that is the signal in which your body has to send you in order to go in the direction in which you are wanting to go, not the one that, you know, you're being forced to go, but the one you actually want to go, hence why you started prep in the first place for a show. So people are complaining about this, but they don't actually realize that they're still eating more food than probably 95% of the world. They have 5 or 6 or maybe 7 meals a day, even
all the water they can drink.
All the water they can drink, even if they are, say, just on pro veg. Yes, you're going to be fucking hungry. You are going to be bloody hungry if you're on pro veg all day, but there's still more food than most people in the world, and you chose to do it. So, you know.
100%, yeah. I don't think people quite realise as well. We were saying in the last podcast, people are so oblivious to how they are. They don't even realise that they're being this obnoxious.
Yeah.
And I always think, imagine if you were, 2 things. Imagine if you were from a country where you were underprivileged and you had fuck all food, fuck all water, and you saw that kind of post, you'd just be like it's frustrating. And then also I always think, I said it in the last one as well, if you were like an MMA or like an MMA fighter or a boxer, and you saw some pussy bodybuilder who's about 70 kilos soaking wet, talking about being in the trenches and being hardcore, you know, and you know, you've had like 50 fights, and you're just like,
yeah.
The other aspect of it is like the actual people that have been to war and have PTSD, and it's kind of desensitizing and taking what they've been through. It's like you're in an air-conditioned gym with good lighting, toilets that flush, and loo roll. It's not war. It's not war. There's a water fountain in the corner and a vending machine on the way out.
100%.
And not even that, but half of these people don't actually train hard. They just like, you know, they actually like make it out like it's so hard. But like, if you watch them train, you think you just spend most of the time just like recording fucking videos of you like posing and shit, you know?
People are more fussed about how they look and how they come across rather than the actual substance of what the fuck they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Like that thing you sent me earlier today, Chuck. You sent it to me on inbox. Like he wants to be part of it so bad that he's just using the terminology just for the fuck of it. Like there's no actual reason behind it. It's just
So he was 70 kilos, and the post was, I don't know if I should say that because he'll probably see it.
fuck
But
it.
essentially, he's like 70 kilos, and he's talking about he's probably eating like less than 3,000 calories, and he's talking about how difficult it is, and you're like, it just makes you think, what are people thinking?
Yeah.
If that's hard, then
well, as Dan said as well, it's not hard, and you chose to do it. So why do you need someone to pat you on the back and mollycoddle you? Do you know what I mean? Like why? That's just the society we live in now. It's fucking annoying, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where does that place in 101?
that definitely goes in.
It's already in, mate. It's already in. So we'll move on to the next one.
Okay.
Ooh.
Right.
Resistant bands on hack squats, and there seems to be this mentality that that's where a green band lives. Like,
hey, sorry to interrupt. We had this one already.
Connor brought this up.
I feel like we just went into that one, so maybe we should go. Yeah.
Right then, your turn.
Again, going back to prep, but trying to find loopholes for prep. So, for example,
No, not that.
oh, really?
Tom had that. That was Tom's point.
Yeah, he called it prep hacks.
Prep hacks, yeah.
Like what though?
Do you remember, Chad? Give the example.
So he spoke about obviously all the like skinny syrups and all that sort of stuff, like trying to make prep easier. And he said prep is not supposed to be easier; it's meant to be hard.
Yeah,
that's your point.
Basically, yeah, that is literally what it was. Okay.
Oh shit! You're gonna have to freestyle this, mate.
Okay, I've got another one. Hashtag road to pro.
Oh yeah, that's annoying.
And like first timer competition. Hashtag road to pro.
We sort of touched on this, but not quite. Like, not hashtag road to pro, but basically we talked about how people they've not even competed before, or they have and they placed badly. And they're talking about pro cards and overalls, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's like we live in an Instagram age now, and everyone's I don't know. It's like everyone's just trying to make themselves more than what they are.
Even so, I had a client today that he's kind of just like he kind of tried to compare himself to like a lot of the bigger guys, and I said to him, "Look, you still can't bypass the factor of time. You still have to put the years in before you can like. It doesn't matter what you take, how much you eat, what training style you're doing. You've got to start somewhere, put the time in, and it will come, or it might not come, but." At least that's how you start.
Right. So I last competed when I was a junior. I was a pretty good junior, did pretty well, and I could have easily stepped on stage the next year about 25 pounds heavier. That's how good my rebound was. I didn't, because when I got back on stage, it would have been men's open. I wanted to take the time to not only look different myself, but I wanted to look different to all the men's open in said PCA show. Now, that's the key word. The key word is I'm not thinking about pro card. I'm thinking about, right, I've done the juniors, I've done the British, I've done all that, and I'm pretty good. And then my next step up, because I'm limited by age, I'm going to be in the men's open. I'm not in any way, shape or form. Now, it's going to be 4 years off stage thinking that's my next move is pro card. My next move is to do a men's open show and win it. Very, very simple. There are ladders to this process, and it's not competition ladders. It's the amount of time you spend in the gym and actually just doing the off season. People are too keen nowadays just to think, oh, I've had 1 year out, 2 years out, I'm now going to compete again, when they don't actually look at their own progress to decide whether that is worth them getting on stage again. You shouldn't be getting on stage necessarily for a placing, but necessarily on stage for a different you. And I think people are too focused on pro card because for some reason
it's pro card sometimes. I think it's just those Instagram likes. There's lots of competitors who, they'll do a season, they'll go into off season for maybe 4 months before they're then dieting again to hit the season again. And it's like, okay, so you've just, it's definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You're still not one, you're still not one. I
just feel like to be a good bodybuilder, it takes a sense of being honest with yourself and a bit of being humbled in a way as well. Like, I'm a semi-average bodybuilder as I am. I'm nearly 280 pounds. I'm pretty lean at 280 for my height as well. I'm 5'10", so that's pretty good for where I am. Like, I represent quite a lot of muscularity, but in no way do I think, oh, pro card is there for next outing, when there are literally kids who are like 23, not got an ounce of tissue on them, and that's their next site for some reason. And a lot of that, I feel like, is pushed them via their coaches. And I know the exact coaches I'm thinking of because they have affiliations with, say, Two Bros and stuff like that. So they'll only put their clients through those shows. Now, the clients, in my opinion, would feed back like, mate, you sure I'm ready for that? And the coach will say, just because the affiliation is like, no, you're sure you are. We need to get on this process of road to pro kind of thing. And I've seen it. So in part, I think a lot of the coaches are to blame.
It's money, isn't it? And a lot of these coaches will encourage clients to sign up to 3 and 4 and 5, 6 classes at a time. You know, that all feeds that federation.
Yeah.
And all for probably no one else to turn up in their class.
Yeah, fuck me. Well, you said on the last podcast, there was a dude who did he do 6 categories, 2 bros?
One of the guys in my gym, he done, and it's not just that, but he done all the classes. He did classic and board shorts, and it's like 6 fucking classes. And you just think, how can you fit the criteria for 6 classes?
Yeah.
Did he do men's bikini as well?
Should have.
I think what it is, right? So there's a few things. It's people getting in their ears. So when you're at the gym, and you're at a gym where there's pretty low level, like this, lifestyle people just training, just fucking, whatever. No one's particularly strong. No one's particularly lean. No one's particularly big. All of a sudden, you become the biggest in the gym. And because of your surroundings, you start believing that you're better than you are. Because relative to the people around you, you're good, right? So you've got everyone in your ear going, fucking hell, you should do that show. You'll smash it. And they start believing it. Then they get a coach. And then all of a sudden, in their head, they're like, so everyone around me says I'm going to be fucking smash it. Then I'll get like a coach that's like £300-400 a month. How's this not going to work? And it's just complete naivety because they don't know what they're talking about. It's ignorance. They don't know what they're talking about. So they dramatically overestimate their ability. And then, as you say, and then they get humbled. And I think that's a good thing. I think being humbled is definitely a good thing. And finally, you realize your level, where you sit, and then you can work on the things that you need to work on.
I think they get smoke blown up their ass by gem pop, really. It's like a little bit of muscle.
Yeah.
To gem pop is a lot of muscle.
Absolutely, yeah. Exactly.
No idea, like you said, what they're actually going to be facing.
And that's kind of, unfortunately, that's going to be a lot of maybe geographical location, like who they're around. They're not in the real bodybuilding circles. Luckily, if you know, and you're around those right people, and you won't have smoke blown up your ass. But sorry, Dan, carry on, mate. Go on, sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say, actually, I can even hold my hands up and admit my first show was 2015, my first show. And I was around, the background, everything before I was bodybuilding, I was a bit of a weekend warrior is the term, So I was sniffing drugs and I was going out, smoking, drinking, and I was still training. And I had like a not bad physique. I had abs and stuff like that. And I was bigger than people around me. And to be honest with you, I kind of thought that I was higher than I was. I'll be honest. Then I done my first show and I came second. And I started believing even more. In my head, I was like, no. I think if I really went to this
back then as well, though, Ryan, like the competition wasn't what it is now. Like we've said before, like the pool of athletes, bodybuilders people doing it. It's just so much more. It's such a trend now to everyone. Everyone goes to the gym. Everyone competes. They've gone to the gym for like 6 months and they talk about, I'm going to compete next year. And look at the standard,
100%.
I think again that there's a sense of like going into the sport and being humble. So like Ryan, and being humbled, as you say. So Ryan, you said you got humbled.
Yes.
Like in anyone that, and I take a lot of inspiration from you in a way, because anyone that had your physique and would let the numbers get in their heads in terms of, I'm X this weight and that means I'm fucking amazing, which we know in bodybuilding is fuck all anyway. They would be doing 2 bro show after 2 bro show and trying to get on that pro card
flying abroad.
Let's go Finland, Spain, Portugal. Oh, we're going back to Finland again. We still haven't got it, but we're going to go again. Anyone that had your physique would be doing that. And again, it comes from you actually being humbled, and then, you know, saying, well, this is where I'm at. I'm going to tick some goals off. I don't know your goals, but I know the last thing you did, you won the PCA University, you got a PCA Pro card. I think that is a massive step up from where you were to then.
Yeah.
Then I'm sure there's another step up after that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I knew, even at my first show, so I did quite well. There was like 16 in my category and I came second. I was pretty buzzing with it, to be honest. But I knew because backstage, and I told him when he was on the podcast, you know, Dan McNabb. Yeah. So Dan McNabb was coaching the guy who beat me. And I saw Dan backstage, and it was like, well, so that's what a bodybuilder looks like. Well, I felt so inferior. And I felt like that was a really big moment. Dan didn't even know this moment happened. But to me, it was a really big moment. It really like slapped me in the face. And I was like, wow, okay. I went to the British finals and didn't place top 6. And I was like, okay. So I had some work to do.
Yeah, like my first proper hardcore bodybuilding gym that I joined, on a daily basis, I would see Jordan Peters, Corin Ingman. Then when Luke and Ben used to come over as well, training there, Mark Joyce as well. Like, I used to see them as a kid, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Like, I'm nothing until I'm at least Corin. And I still think that.
Yeah, I was going to say, not many people are, mate.
No.
It's a good thing that because some people just like what you just said, Ryan. Like, you start off in a gym that you're kind of the best of what you'd call the best. But if you start in a gym where everyone else is above you, then you've got something to aim for.
Yeah, being surrounded by people who inspire you and people who, you know, look into where you want to be, it's really, really important. And actually, speaking to you guys, I don't know as you, Romana, but I know you boys are very, very strong guys. And for me as well, I used to equate strength to how good I was, right? So when I was younger, I was just, for some reason, I was just really good at benching. I've got long arms and a small chest, but I'm good at benching, and I don't know why. Anyway, because I could bench a lot, I believed that I was good. And I used to equate the two, and we still know people, Chad, I'm sure you guys do as well, but we still know people that because of how strong they are, they believe that that's how good of a bodybuilder they are. And the two are not necessarily correlated. They are to a degree, don't get me wrong, it helps to be strong, but just because you can bench 5 plates or whatever, that doesn't mean that you're a good bodybuilder. And I was very much proof of that. In my own head.
I couldn't agree more with that, because I'm so fucking broken now. Like, my body's like broken. So I am actually not as strong. Mine is pulling off the floor, because I can pull off the floor and I've never got injured once pulling off the floor. Mine is that, touch wood. Mine is that. I'm very broken, limited to what I can do, and I've learned how to work around things and stuff like that. I'm actually not as strong as I used to be, and there's no way I can, because
I think that's all of us.
Yeah, but I am so much better than I was, so therefore there is not a absolute linear correlation there. Even Jordan, the guy who preaches get strong as hell, then sort the rest out later type of thing, that's his kind of mentality, I believe. He put up a post on it was either a post or a story, saying something like, there's a middle ground between the two, between being strong and being very accurate, and not just pushing the hypertrophy pathways, but looking at obviously like volumization, that type of metabolic stress. But getting strong will only get you so far. Until your body can't actually do that, then you can't actually get into those mechanical positions. That is so good for your body, but your body fucking hates because you're broken by that point.
That's the biggest factor for me as well, is like, I'm getting older. Getting over 35 was not fun.
I think I'm 35.
Because I'm a bodybuilding baby. I've only been bodybuilding for like 4 years. Is it 4 years? Something like that.
She won her pro card with 2 years of competing. Freak.
Fuck's sake.
But in my defense, I was crossfitting for a really long time, and I've trained since I was 14. So it's not like I just walked into the gym and then 2 years later I got my pro card. But my issue is, it's like my strength is still increasing, but everything just hurts.
Yeah.
That was
The thing is, we know that strength, there's more to strength than just muscle. There's obviously skill, there's leverages how your body's built. So if you've got longer arms, well, guess what? You're going to be good at deadlifts, you know, things like that. You know, but with that said, like what you just said, like obviously strength will only get you to a certain point, and then it's how you move the weight.
Yeah.
Especially, I just want to go back. How does, so just to track, how does, what's the one we put in there? Pro card. Aiming
Road to pro.
Road to pro. Where does that stand in 101?
And
Definitely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. See, with the structure of this one's been a bit weird because of like, yeah. So normally we talk about it and decide, and then but it's been a bit weird this one. I just wanted to talk about that quickly. Subject we're just on before we go into another point. I feel like I've got an internal battle, right? Because I'm not as strong as I used to be, basically across the board. And it's psychologically quite tough because sometimes I might train with someone and they will just go for numbers, and I'll find myself doing what they do just for the numbers' sake. But in reality, I know that that's not going to be necessarily beneficial for me. But what I'm on about with this inner turmoil is that in my mind, I'm like, fuck, why am I so weak? Like, am I actually progressing? And then I start doubting myself, and then I start rethinking everything. And you guys ever have that?
Yes, that's why I went to him for my training.
Right.
And the biggest, other than Dan taking over my training, the other biggest thing that's like helped with that inner turmoil is I was OCD logbook. Like I had to, if I didn't log it, it didn't happen. It wasn't real. I didn't train. Well, of course I fucking trained. I've just spent 2 hours in the gym. And I can't remember when it was. It was quite early on into training with you, wasn't it? But I was just like, I just need to ditch it. And it's been the most liberating thing ever. I thought I'd forget what I'd lifted before, but actually I remember quite well.
And that doesn't necessarily,
the focus isn't there.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that we don't have a set session in order. It just means that we're not tracking our progress via numbers. They're two totally different things. From her, what I expect for us to progress is one, actually being able to do the work injury-free. She's a genetic freak. Like she could fucking do a toe press and grow a delt. Like it's unreal. I've never seen a responder like it. But so getting into the session out injury-free, so then we can actually get a row of sessions done and get some proactive, you know, whatever. We do have set sessions, and really from her, I'm trying to get like absolute brilliant mind-muscle connection, because if you've been doing CrossFit for as long as you have, mind-muscle connection was never a thing, was never a focal point.
Just throw it around.
It's
grip and rip.
So what
technique? What's technique?
So
Show me technique. Just do it as quickly as you can.
So what does that mean in terms of, right, so we've gone from CrossFit to throwing shit round like a headless chicken, then going into bodybuilding, don't think anything to do with connecting to the muscle and actually moving stuff via contraction, controlling tempos, etc. to let's just move weight progressively. Isn't that what you kind of did before? Maybe on a different playing field, but that is. So our novel stimulus for her is getting amazing muscle connection and then doing so with intensity. The two combined limit actually the amount of volume she can take. We just go until the maximum. Yeah, well, no, not exactly, until the maximum of volume that she can actually do and recover for the next session. So that's a way that we figured out her training without being purely progressive overload based. If she ends up doing more weight, because the day feels amazing, but the form is standardized, it felt incredible, cool. But it's really important that the baseline of our progress is from.
For me, it's like not only like old joints, old connective tissues that have just been put through a rigmarole of 10 years of CrossFit, but on top of that, I've also got shift work. So I might be having to train legs in between a night shift, and I've had 5 hours sleep. So I'm never going to lift the same amount of weight where I've had a good 10 hours sleep night, had like a rest day before. It's not comparable. And the thing that was really causing me turmoil was trying to chase those numbers when actually I've had no sleep. My knees really hurt today. It's just, the stress.
I think also when a lot of people talk about strength, when we say we're not as strong or we're not strong, we're still fucking strong. We're still pressing 3 and 4 plates aside. You know, we're still lifting more than most people. So, when we talk about strength not being as important and not the most important factor, it's when you get these kids that come in and they do like a plate aside on a chest press, and they talk about strength not being important. Oh, strength's important for you. It's very fucking important. But you got to go through that process first that we've already gone through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I do something that might be for everyone on the loom? It's not that our focus is now being like, oh, my muscle connection, it must feel perfect. It's doing somewhat what you used to do, but doing it perfectly. But more importantly, just doing higher rep ranges.
Right.
Yes, I agree. So yeah, I would honestly say that I don't go below 5 or 6 reps ever, because I just find that's risky territory. Say again?
Unless I've like completely overestimated the weight. And
but I'll never plan on it, because it's just, for me, especially I'm 35, I'm taking on now. It's like, it's just risky. It's just risky territory, and I just can't be bothered with it. And as you said, really important to, you can have an amazing session and just go with it, but the next day you wake up and you're fucked. Then you end up losing that like focus you've got. You want to rack up as many good sessions in a row. I think,
Actually, people as well, when they're training, programming training, they literally focus on, how do I make this session the most intense session of my life? Rest, pause, muscle round, just throw it all in there to fuck you up. They don't think about how these sessions actually link up and the synergy between them.
I actually had a client last week. He goes, do you mind if I look after my own training? And I was like, it's fine, mate, it's fine. Just let me know what you do. Anyway, he sent it over. So he does 9 exercises and he does 5 working sets on each exercise.
That sounds like my training before you took over.
Right. And I asked him, I was like, so what kind of he's like, yeah, well, I mean, I go every set's all out. And I'm like, by definition, it's not, though, is it? It's not. Like, you can't sprint a marathon, right? It's so it's crazy. And he had no idea why he could A, hold on to weight, B, get stronger, and C, what was the other one? Fit all his meals in, because he was spending 3+ hours in the gym. You know what I mean? So and I said, right, so if you change your volume immediately, you're in the gym less, you can eat more. Your weight's going to stick and you're going to get stronger because you're allowing recovery. And he was like, well, yeah, I haven't done that.
I've got something to link that onto my next 101.
Mate, please, go for it.
So first and foremost, where does strength as a focus for bodybuilding lay in 101?
Strength with regards to bodybuilding. I don't think strength's important to bodybuilding still, to a degree.
I think in those younger years, more so.
More so in the young years, but still it has a place.
Yeah. Okay. Agreed. Okay.
You want to go into your next one, buddy?
Yes. And Dave's going to like this one because he messaged me about it. Now, I might have an argument to put it in 101, but we'll see. So RIR, reps in reserve training, but specifically the physique collective model of accumulating volume over a set amount of weeks. I've done it, so I have personal experience, but I've also had clients do it and it worked a treat. Now, so I'm saying for an advanced bodybuilder that's previously been very, very strong and good with that weight, to then go onto that technique, I think it's utterly useless. Reason being, so from my own experience, and like I will still argue with Joe about this to the day. Like, I think he's insanely intelligent. I will ask him questions if I have questions about anything, but we don't agree on the training side of things. But for beginner clients, I think it's amazing. My reason being, when I went through that experience, I went 6 or 7 weeks through a mesocycle in which you go week 1, 3 reps in reserve, a set amount of volume for your sessions. Week 2, now it's 1 less rep in reserve, so it'd be 2 reps in reserve, more volume than the week before. Week 3, 1 rep in reserve, more volume. Week 4, 0 reps in reserve, 2 failure, even more volume. Then you'll go maybe 2 more until you die, basically. What happened to me is, being quite a strong guy, I was still trying to do those loads with the accumulated volume. Now imagine when you get to 4 week 4 and you're doing 0 reps in reserve in a stupid amount of volume for, say, I was doing, I counted 8 sets of Smith squat to failure. I was starting at 6 plates a side. Then by the end of it, I was doing like maybe 4 or 3 all out to failure. And then after that stint, I had really bad.
That's still impressive for 8
well,
sets.
Well, it is, but by the end of it, it took me, like after the mesocycle, I was so fucked. It took me about 3 months to be able to actually train properly again.
Are you talking like joint pain, or are you talking like neurological?
So I did come away with a lot of knee pain that persists today as well, but that could be anything else, to be honest. But I don't think volume helps when you're doing that. I couldn't eat, so I was in my off season. When you're doing that amount of volume and breaking down your SNS, your SNS is up in the sky. You cannot get in a relaxed state at all. I could not fucking eat. Like, my appetite was gone, and it got me up to like 280 once, but then I missed like a couple of meals. I back down to fucking 273, and I was fat with it. So I can tell you, my composition didn't get better. But again, I want to stress that this is just my experience, and what me and Joe also say is, going into it, I had an emotional attachment to other methods of training. So that could definitely have involvement. Like, for example, you're probably going to excel at something you enjoy, right? It's probably quite true. But I think coming from a background where I've previously been very strong, and I came out not as nearly as strong as I've previously been, which, you know, as we just spoke about, kind of doesn't matter sometimes. It's up there for sure. But with that, when you're adding up volume across the weeks and actually not recovering from your sessions, you can't eat, so you can't do your off season. What you're relying on, really, in my case, relying on drugs for recovery, because I couldn't sleep either. My SNS was always elevated. I just couldn't,
Especially when you've got 8 sets to worry about. You think I've got 1 or 2, and that's it. It's over. That's it. 8 sets.
I don't know. How do you know what 3 reps reserve feels like? It's a bit of a guess, isn't it? It's a bit of a guess.
That might be part of the problem as well when you're trying to program for somebody. Because let's face it, it's subjective, exactly. Our 3 reps in reserve are going to be very different to, say, somebody else his client has dealt with. So I might have been doing the program totally wrong in taking 3 reps in reserve way further than he would have expected. Therefore, his decision making in programming is off. But how do you program that if everyone's different?
Absolutely.
If you obviously use it for a while, you can then refer back to in the next meso and be like, right, last time I did that for this many reps, so I'm going to do a little bit more, or, you know.
Yeah, but mate, how do I get to the next meso when it takes me 3 months to recover? Like, I was in a maintenance phase, and the maintenance phases are reps in reserve with like fuck all volume at all to make you recover. People can be on them for like a month. To me,
that's just boring. That's just boring, is it not? That's just shit. But I don't want to train really hard to have to take 2 weeks off every now and then. Like, no. Like, I do this because I love it, and I'm sure you guys are all the same. So, like, yeah.
But then, like, Joe would argue. I wish I had Joe in here to argue with me, because I'm sure he'd be able to get his point across better than I am, because I'm coming from my biased perspective. But he would say, like, all studies back it. But in reality, like, when you have an advanced bodybuilder that is previously very strong, then you remove any stimulus of uptaking fresh motor neuron units. Like we do, we train to failure. We're very accurate with reps. Our 1 rep is much, much more than somebody else's 5 reps, right? How does that apply to an advanced bodybuilder from a study?
That's the main issue. It's like, it's come from a study. It's come from a very, very controlled. You think about how you set up a study. You have all these variables that are strictly controlled. Your participants are strictly controlled. There's not the variation that you get with people.
Do they think, like, these studies, are they doing them on people that have trained for a decade who, like, 280 pounds and on 2 grams of gear? No.
Yeah, it matter. The details matter, don't they? Because it's very often it's not relevant. It's the moment that you hear that it's like on, you know, men that, well, all women, sorry, and all women,
women, not girls.
Yeah, not girls, men or girls, right? Sorry. It is the moment that you hear that it's on like untrained, or it's just like, well, who gives a shit? And also, it's not even just someone who trains. It's like we're taking to the extremes. You say 280, 300. I'm 300 pounds in the off season. It's just like,
dude,
Yeah.
like as you said, you've been previously very strong. Could you imagine like being a 300-pound plus body like you are, trying to get in the amount of food that you require to get in, whilst putting your CNS under that much stress
And not sleeping.
and not
Because
sleep
your CNS
and not sleep?
well,
Let
do you know
alone-
what do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, it's not the same, but it reminds me of when I used to always take D-Bolt in the off season because I loved how strong it made me, right? And it made me so strong, but my appetite was like, so I couldn't eat anything.
Yeah,
It
it's
kind of
kind of
reminds me
productive.
of like the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail would pass to this like headline of "Studies show this," and then when you actually look at it, they've got 5 participants that
Yeah.
I think they're handling the study at. It's all very well to sound intelligent and quote studies, but how is that applicable to the demographic?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know how to interpret the actual studies, and we've said this before. It's almost like, fine, take the study, read it, and analyze it properly, and think, okay, well, the study says this. My practical application says this. Now, what does that mean for me in practice? And put it all together and work out, you know.
Well, we kind of touched on this before, but how reliable are people in general? Not very, right? So when a study says that it like studied, like let's say 1,000 people, do you believe that those 1,000 people are all doing it exactly as they should? Because I fucking don't. Because unless you can literally get them all in one room and never fucking leave for 10 weeks or whatever, how the fuck, like, I don't believe shit. People are lying all over the place. And it's great to quote studies, but also it can be, the expression I like is paralysis by analysis. When you overthink something, it just ends up becoming a bit of a mind fuck and you get nowhere.
If
You have to look at, oh, I'm sorry.
versatile, if you can't be versatile and adapt what it is you're trying to deliver to an individual, then it's kind of irrelevant. That person's not fresh.
I just can't get my head around. So can I ask Dan, you said about the 8 sets all out on week 4.
By the time I got to week 4 and you're working at 0 reps in reserve,
Yes. So was it 8 sets for the session or 8 sets of that exercise?
that was just specifically for that exercise.
So you said hack squat.
I can get up a week 4 session if you want.
Yeah. Go on.
Have a look.
No, I'm pretty sure it's literally Smith squat 8 sets, then you do leg extension 8 sets, then you do.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, because you know Nathan Heckrules
Yes.
trains like that. Gary Ingram trains him quite a bit, and he said about what the sessions were like. He said, yeah, 8 sets of hack squat, then followed by 6 sets of leg extension.
Yeah. As you say, by the time you get to the 8th set, you've gone from 6 plates, 7 plates to 3 plates. It just, I don't know.
But mate, by the time you get to week 4, you don't even feel like you can train to failure because fatigue's so high. Like you're going to failure till the weight doesn't move, but that failure is no way as effective as it would.
Right. Do you get to the point as well when you're so fatigued where you feel like you're just moving the weight? You're not able to connect the same way anymore. Do you know what I'm on about?
That was another issue with it. I felt like all my hand-eye coordination, motor neuron skill, I had nothing.
Yes.
I had nothing at all.
So I've trained like, high intensity training, the Dorian Yates style.
Yep.
I trained like that before and I was put through it. And by the end, like you're just hanging on. You're moving the weight, but you're not actually like able to fucking do it anymore. You're just in so much pain and you're just like fucking.
Sounds like CrossFit.
That's why volume can't be. That's why volume can't be uniform across the board for everyone. That's why people need coaches to tell them how much volume to do.
Yeah.
But I'd say most people fit into a specific amount, but there are always, outliers either way. But generally speaking,
I think volume changes as you go along, depending on what phase you're in. It's not always the same.
I don't think as well a newbie should be doing low volume because they just can't get enough weight through. They can't grab enough stimulus from small amount of sets.
Well, we've got a lot of programs that are actually tried and tested at a 5x5. that's a good program for a beginner. I always say that because it teaches you that basic strength. It gives you that basic strength that you need in order to like get to past a certain point.
I ask my clients to send over videos of their working sets, and when I see them, I'm like,
oh, we always watch them, don't we?
But I can't believe. I'm thinking to myself, fuck, you've only got 2 sets, and that's what they look like. Like, it's worrying.
There's the warm-ups, that's why.
Yeah, that's what they always say. They always say that. Sorry, Romana, what did you say?
I was just going to say, it's that bit about volume and bringing the intensity to those 2 sets is something that I had to make a major sort of mental adjustment when Dan took over my training, because I was one of those retards that just went into the gym and just hammered myself with volume.
Yeah, and more is better.
Retrospectively, it was probably just doing me a disservice because I wasn't growing at the rate that I'm growing now.
Well, it depends on the goal, Romana. It depends. So if your goal is growing muscle, then probably it does hurt you. But if your goal is to be fit, like in CrossFit, right? It's okay.
Because this is bodybuilding. I'm talking.
Yeah.
You still managed to turn pro on that, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're just pro in everything that you do.
Huh?
You're just pro in everything that you do.
Hardly. I'm definitely a better bodybuilder than I was a CrossFitter. Definitely. Yeah.
Saying that, someone that can do that and still turn pro, what does that say when you start doing things properly?
Yeah.
Then you really excel.
Yeah.
I've got a example session here. Okay. So this is for lower quad bias legs, right? Bear in mind, we were training 5 days a week. I believe the split was like upper, lower, rest, upper, lower. No, lower, upper, lower, rest. So you were doing 3 leg sessions.
2 off, 3 off.
Yeah.
3 leg days and 2 upper.
Yeah.
In a 7-day period, you were training legs 3 times a week. This
Okay.
is the typical volume per session. So, and this is mild because I've had clients come from that side of things, and I've heard like 70 sets for a body part and all sorts.
So 3 leg sessions a week, and then what you're about to explain.
This was me, right? So it was seated hamstring curl. This is all week 4 stuff. So built up over the course.
That's 0 reps in reserve.
0 reps in reserve, taking it to failure. It was 6 sets at 10 to 15. Seated ham curl. Then we had hack squat, reverse banded. It was 5 sets at 6 to 10. Then it was 2 sets at 10 to 15. So it's actually not as much as the Smith squat I was doing. It's just a different session. Then it was a glute drive, 3 sets at 10 to 15, so mild. Dumbbell walking lunge, 4 sets at 15 to 20. Then a giant set of leg extension, aiming for 55 reps in total. Then a machine adductor, 4 sets at 10 to 15. Then calves, 3 sets, 10 to 15.
So I think I've just added there. I did a little math in my head. 27 sets to failure plus the muscle round on the leg extension. So
yeah, that's actually dumbed down for me, somebody who can take sets like properly to failure as well.
Right.
Imagine what it might be for somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
when it says 10 to 15, let's say you start, I don't know, the hack squat, your 10 rep set is, say, 7 plates aside. So then you do 10 reps and then you do it again. You do the 7 plates, or do you go down to 6?
Well, just fitting in rep range. So if you need to adapt the weight to stay in that rep range, then you're going to have to. But what I must emphasize for this, saying reps in reserve is easy. It's definitely not. It's fucking hard with the amount of volume on top. It's just, to me, it's not working smart at all.
Well, it feels like the first sessions will be 3 reps in reserve and less volume. It almost feels like that session's not even worthwhile. So it's fairly low volume and nothing to failure. What's the fucking point?
But that's what they say, though. They say when you're, in a super compensated state, or like the first one, you shouldn't push yourself that hard and then more, and then push yourself more, and then, overreach and then deload, and then, that's the premise of it, isn't it?
Yeah, but to us, like, I don't know about you, but if you got to your fourth set of seated ham curl at 3 reps in reserve, like our 3 reps in reserve fucking hurts a lot. That's going to test your recovery still, versus somebody else. So how do you
I think that would work really well if you're what you just like how you said a beginner and your hack squat, you only let's say hack squat is 2.5 plates, and you do 2.5 plates for 10, and then you go 2 plates again, maybe like 2.25, like 1.25, 1.5, you know.
I think well, basically it goes back to right at the beginning, Dan. You said it matters on the individual, and the program that across the board is quite, I don't know.
Exactly, mate. I admittedly I applied the mesocycle slightly differently because it was too much volume for me to warrant prescribing to a client, but I tried on other clients as well. Like people had different bodies to me, people that are natural, people that are enhanced, lighter, heavier, stronger, etc. I had a few clients that did well out of it.
Well, okay, but then also there's so many other variables. So, okay, how new were they to training? You know, because some people are going to be responding like fuck, like right at the beginning, right?
They're the ones to me that responded.
Okay.
Ask, yeah, what clients were the ones that actually you found responded better?
Newbies.
For me, it was the less advanced.
But then wouldn't you say that, you know, someone that's less advanced would kind of respond to anything?
Good point.
You know?
I guess and then it comes down to enjoyment. And as you touched on, what you enjoy is probably going to excel better than anything, right?
And another thing is, you know how he does the upper sessions where he's got like chest and back in one session. I can't handle that in my head where I'm going to go to the gym, do a pull down, and then go and do a chest press. Mentally, I couldn't hack it.
Yeah, so like an upper session.
Yeah,
I can't get my head around that at all.
No,
like the exercise order in one of the upper sessions was incline Smith press, dumbbell shoulder press. No, incline Smith press, lat pull down, dumbbell.
My head's gone already. My head's gone.
Yeah, dumbbell shoulder press, bent over barbell row.
So they're not even like a push focused and a pull focused, and then next session you do the flip
upper.
No, I mean, but like, mate, if I was my younger self and I was so fixated on strength and strength only, that wouldn't be a problem to me, because I'm not thinking about how the muscle feels from going to exercise, shorten ranges, lengthen ranges. I'm thinking, I just want to move the weight as hard as I can and lift the most weight. But as I've gotten more advanced, my exercise order really does matter. And not just to actually feel the muscle, making sure I don't hurt myself as well.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go, mate. You go.
You find sometimes that, let's say you do an exercise and then that exercise stalls. You don't necessarily remove it. You just put it somewhere else within the session, and then you can still progress it.
Well, I think, you say it would have suited you when in your young years because you just wanted to be strong. But I still feel like it wouldn't suit me, right? So if I maxed out on incline bench and then maxed out on bent over row, and then by the time I've come to the third thing, I'm already fucking weakened. Like, I'm already feeling like 80% of myself. You know what I mean? So by this point, I'm already a bit fucked. So I always feel that that's why I like bro splits. I like bro splits, or somewhere in between bro splits and like legs push pull. Because you do your big movement, like so you warm up, your big movement, and then you do a few other like connection movements. And I don't know, there's just something about that like clicks in my head.
I had a shoulder day with a back top up, and it was just so weird then switching that mentality to, oh, well, I've just done delts and now I'm doing that pull down.
I feel like I don't like that expression. For me, that would be in room 101, top up. Because to me, a top up just sounds like an afterthought. If I'm doing something.
Also, I don't need more back. It's the one I don't need more of.
Yeah, like top up though, it depends how it's done. Like if you're zigzagging exercise body parts, to me, I'd have to put that in 101. But let's say for me, a lot of clients have needed like need a program that's biasing their top line. Something I'll use as a split is training 4 days a week, legs push, rest, pull, rest, top line and arms. Top line is like a top-up session of adding in just a couple of exercises that are going to bias their top line, then going to some arm work. But that's not zigzagging between.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, mate, you basically nailed it. And I totally retract what I just said. It's how you do it, right? I just don't think that a lot of people have this mindset, right? The mindset that we have. To a newbie, a top up is just
just chuck a little bit more in at the end, half-assed.
Yeah, that'll do. I fucking hate that will do. Fuck that will do. You either do it or you don't. That's it. Like, if you're just gonna say that will do, don't bother. That's how I feel. That's honestly how I feel.
With a lot of these upper sessions, like how long does that workout take? Because you'd agree, like if you're, let's say if you do push and you start warming up on, you've got 3 presses and you start warming up on the first one. First one might take you half an hour, but in the second one doesn't take you half as long. The third one doesn't take you half as long because you're already warm. But if you're going to have to zigzag between chest and back and then shoulders, like that must take forever.
Warming up each time.
Yeah.
I don't actually have a problem with upper lower sessions. It's the way they're programmed. Yeah, I can do an upper body session as long as it doesn't encompass the whole upper body, that you have a focus for that upper body. Let's say you have upper body chest bias and you go 2 presses, a fly, then you have a lat pull down and a row, then you have maybe a bicep at the end. I can program that, not for myself, I could program that for somebody who's younger, who really just needs to focus on accumulating, I guess, mind muscle connection, getting their motor neuron links kind of aligned and getting stronger. When they're pure bias as that, frequency, in my opinion, can be really good. But for an advanced bodybuilder, I don't see merit.
I always feel like
JP kind of like ranks it. He says like at the right beginning, you start with full body, then you go into an upper lower, then you go into a push pull leg. It's a hierarchy sort of type thing, isn't it?
It's a progression.
I feel like the further into it you get, you realize that you have weaknesses on that are genetically predisposed, and you need to bias those based on who you are, right? So for me, I can't do certain things. Like I couldn't just do a push where my triceps get 3 sets a week, or my chest doesn't get too much. Well, I have to fucking hammer them, because they're weaknesses, and that's it.
What's your current split, you boys?
You go, Dave.
Well, mine's a push pull leg, like modified with like a back hamstring, but they're essentially just push pull legs.
Yeah.
Mine is.
How do you program that across the week?
So it goes push, pull, rest, legs, push 2, rest, back hamstring where I've got my hinges, rest, repeat.
But even so, mate, like what I'm seeing from that, there's thought around it. Sometimes push, pull, legs, rest, push, pull, leg. You've done that according to what you need to bias, and very smartly, you've isolated your leg day because it's probably your most demanding, and then you've put your other most demanding session next to your least demanding session. So you've put together, then you put your legs, then you've rested. There's even thought to that. That is still not a typical push-pull leg split.
Oh yeah, modified for sure.
Yeah. Go
on. I've got mine's much more of a bro split, to be honest. It's 2 leg sessions, 2 chest sessions, 1 arm session, back and delt top up. Because back and delt for me is, I don't need it. So it's just focusing on everything else. But what the 2 things to touch on that, the 2 things that I do, I have my chest day, then rest, always. I'll have chest, then rest, and then when I'm fresh back, legs always. So it's always chest, rest, legs. And
is that because they're your weaker body parts?
Yes, I absolutely want to focus my quads and my chest/arms.
So you bias your recovery around those sessions.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, that's cool. That's good. That's an advanced thinking that I think a beginner doesn't need. I don't think they have weak body parts. That's why I think an upper lower split can be really good just to get frequency going.
Yeah.
Later down the line, when you start seeing holes, you can start doing that shit.
How often do you get a client go, oh, my arms are lagging? I'm like, no, you're 80 kilos.
Your body.
Your fucking everything is lagging.
Yeah.
I had a client say, my triceps are just getting ridiculous. And I was like, fuck? No, they're not. They're like, I might need to calm down the tricep. They're getting a bit ridiculous. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
About me. So anyway, let's get a conclusion. Let's try and get one more before we finish up. So conclusion.
I'm hoping it's not been done before, right? Like, it's again whacking shit tons of weight on a machine and doing range of motion like that. Tiny, like
it's not been on
that on the leg press, and you're literally just going
Yeah, but that's kind of like what we were trying to say with biasing strength over everything.
No, good, like shitty range of motion.
I say weight irrelevant.
Yeah.
So
I'm just
range of motion.
I'm talking about the videos they then put up of look at me with 500 people on the leg press.
There's a guy on Instagram. I'll try and find it, but he literally does that. He tagged Dorian Yates in because he was on the Cybex leg press, and he was like, oh, this is like the Cybex leg press that Dorian Yates used to use, and he's like has like about 17 fucking plates aside, and he's like doing like this much range of motion. He's tagged him. I was like, he ain't going to be reposting that.
Oh,
No.
Leg press is probably one of the worst. I check. There's two big ego moves: rack pulls and leg press. People rack pull like halfway up their thigh, and they literally just. That's about it. And fucking leg press is really easy to shorten that motion. That's a bugbear of mine.
Hey, rack pull. It's just a way to fucking wreck bars. That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
Well, I hate that.
So I'll get to the rack pull in a second. So something I hear Luke, rest in peace, Sando, when he was alive, he come to the conclusion that when he started backing off the weight on that leg press and really just imagine dragging your feet up that sled as if you're doing a leg extension, just fucking hone in on every inch of that rep, his quads responded so much better. And that's something he got from hypertrophy coach, Joe Bennett. I don't think weight on a leg press, I just don't see the transferability. I just see it as you need to fail within your rep range. The weight is reflective on what it takes for you to fail in that rep range. Like if you're doing 7 plates aside in a 20 to 30 rep range, which not a lot of people do that rep range for some reason, I see it as really good for legs.
Always
20 plus, yeah.
Dude, like with my knee pain is pretty much all I can do nowadays anyway. That, like, I don't see people doing that, but don't worry about the weight. Just think about go to failure in that rep range. The weight means fuck all at that point.
Well, the weight should be proportionate to actually being able to perform the movement in that full range of motion.
And to make it as effective as possible.
Yeah.
Well, I find as soon as I load up the leg press, I just have knee pain. And it's like, you know, I've got two different types of sessions. Sometimes I want to press a bit of weight because it's quite fun, but I always know that the next day I'm going to suffer, or the next few days I'm going to suffer. Where in reality, I could just drop the weight. What I do, I actually remember someone saying to me once upon a time, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, they said, imagine you're pushing through mud. Imagine you're purposely trying to think about that movement, engage the muscle that you're trying to use, engage it to initiate movement, and then imagine you're pushing through mud. So you're squeezing your quad and trying to push it and contract at the same time kind of thing. I find when I go heavy, I'm just moving it because it's kind of scary, that fucking sled coming towards your face, you know?
It just becomes skeletal at that point.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, how much can your joints take? It makes such a big difference. Where every time I'm training, I'm sorry, mate.
I'm saying I'm guilty of it. Like I'll go through a phase where my knees fucking hurt, so I've got to back off, and I'm going, well, as a new stimulus, I'm just going to make every rep as hard as possible. And as soon as my knees get good again and everything feels light as shit, I forget about that. Maybe I've taken a little bit of Superdrol and I feel strong. Then I can't fucking train legs for 3 weeks.
That's when you go and start doing your double banded leg presses with 17 plates aside.
Oh man,
I think at the minute I really
I actually want to ask you boys that. And girls, boys and girls. I know you don't like girls, but still. Where do you find yourself? It almost like I don't know how to word it, but basically your ego. So you feel good, and sometimes you think to yourself, "Fuck it," and you just do it anyway, even though you know it's probably not going to be good. You find yourself still doing that.
Oh, mate, like what happens when I go to the gym and they're saying like, "Oh, just deload, devolume, or whatever you want to call it nowadays."
Mid-session, he goes, "Actually, no, we're not devoluming anymore. We're gonna do 2 sets," and I'm sitting there going, "I feel like shit." Great.
No, but usually exercise base is going, look, I'm just going to feel a hip hinge today. I'm just going to pull it off the floor, just get the rep range done. Done. And now there's fucking 8.5 plates on the bar. Like, just because I felt good that day. And now, like, if that was for leg say, leg press or whatever, now I can't train legs properly for 3 weeks. And literally the situation that I've been bitching about all day today, hence why we were late for the podcast. We traveled down to a gym an hour away because that's the best leg kit we can get. And I couldn't perform a single fucking thing because my knee was just screaming at me. I never learn.
Fucking
When you say ego, you don't mean ego to prove to other people, but it's more because you train in gym, like you train in your own gym, don't you?
So generally, not at the minute, but no.
Exeter's a little way away from Suffolk.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm missing it terribly because it's my own space, my own kit that is so predictable. Rare shit as well. Like Dave, you showed me your gym. Like
Yeah.
That's the stuff I've got in
Oh,
mind.
I know. Yeah.
You know, everything just feels mechanically amazing. Every leg session I go to now is so unpredictable how I'm going to come out of because the kit is dog shit.
And I think because you like my gym's like there's never anyone in there bare like when I go and train at the time I train, there's like literally just me and normally like maybe one other person. So there just isn't anyone for you to try and impress. And even if there is, people there they don't give a shit because they're not like people you can impress. They're all high level, so they don't care. No one cares what you lift.
But the point of it is what I was saying, I'd still be an idiot in my own gym and there's no one.
Oh yeah.
Proving to anyone else, it's proving to myself because for some reason I've been programmed in this way that if I'm not like burying myself under 10 plates and leg press or whatever it is, then I'm not really training properly. I still have this in my head and I only knock it out when I can't do that stuff and I have to do the other stuff.
Yeah, so exactly that happens to me as well. And sometimes I'll finish the session, I'll get home and I'll have a bit of a word with myself and I'm like, did I actually train hard then, or am I sort of telling myself it's hard? And then I start thinking to myself, right, I might catch an old photo of myself from back in like 2018 when I was squatting 7 plates plus, and I see my legs and I'm like, hold on, my legs were really good back then and I was doing 320 squats. Fuck, I need to do that again. And then I'll think to myself, I better work up. And then, as you just said, I'll have knee pain. And then I'm like, fuck. And then I'll be back down. It's like this constant, like this, constantly.
I'm literally from now on, mate, I'm going to, because Mana usually trains wherever I train anyway. Like, if she catches me doing something silly on legs, I'm going to have you from now on. Dan, stop being a cunt.
I mean, before Dan took over my training, before we got together, I used to train quite a lot with a couple of younger lads down the gym. One of them now.
Do you know my junior client Nat? He's a fucking freak. He won the overall at the Welsh.
I know Ben.
No, what's his full name?
He doesn't really do Instagram.
He's Thick Nat with K's. But anyway, he's like 23, nearly 24. And I'd train with him and his mate, and they'd be like, come on, you can do more than that. You can do more than that. It's like, mate, no, I can't, because my knees will literally ping across the fucking room. Yeah. So I'm judging every time, especially hack. That's the main one. I'm judging every time I go down.
Oh, he took the overall. Yeah.
I saw him.
I don't know him, but I know of him. Yeah, seen him.
He's like a powerlifter as well, right?
He was.
Yeah. But an MMA fighter.
So what she's getting the point is at that age he can do silly shit.
No, that's not my point. My point is, I'm there judging whether I can go to failure today, or whether going to failure is just going to put me in a hole. Whereas you just think, fuck it, I'm going to failure anyway.
Yeah, true.
It's harder though. If you have to assess someone else's training, you can just say, don't do that, stupid. But when it comes to yourself, impossible.
It's a big bit of humble pie to swallow and go, right, I'm going to rack it now.
Yeah.
Come on, you got one more. It's like, no, this hurty. It's hurty.
It's a bit different now. Like with going back to Nat, it sounds like he's just a meathead and whatnot. He was, but he really does listen to me now. And he was even saying to me a few weeks ago, like, mate, I really want to be able to do like 5 plates aside and hack, which is nothing to him. He's a strong guy. I want to do 5 plates aside. I want to do 5-second eccentrics, 2-second pauses in the hole, like just make them perfect. Him talking like that is like really refreshes me because he has incredible legs. He doesn't need bigger legs. All he needs to do is be able to actually train them and just keep them ticking along. You know, for him to be talking like that is a really mature approach. But I feel like I could actually take a lot of, you know, it's like do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
That's me as a coach.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can know what you're doing and you can be objective about other people, but yourself, you make fucking silly mistakes. And I feel like over the years, what I've learned is you just learn by the fact that you keep fucking up. And don't get me wrong, I still fuck up, but I fuck up slightly less. Just slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my fuck up is normally RDLs now, where I'm like, it feels great, my lower back feels great, and then the next day I'm like, I can't walk, put my socks on or anything.
I tell you fucking what, yeah, you're a fucking massive deadlifter. Every time when I watch your deadlifts, I literally my lower back is like, oh. You obviously don't have any problems, but for me, it is a not. If I go to about 250 plus,
mate, like as I say, deadlifts are cool. Like, if it's not on that day, I just throw a hissy and I don't do it, and that's it. But if I see like my friend Greg Taylor, when I see him doing hacks with fucking Cybex hack like 9 plates aside, I'm gritting my teeth like you are watching me.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all got our injuries that we look at and we imagine being that person in the exercise.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what it is. I really wish I could just deadlift. I reckon in the last
go though, haven't you?
Okay.
You're like 6'2", aren't you?
6'3".
Yeah, you got.
Yes, that's a lot.
I told you what I think it is, Ryan. I think it is. I said to you, start off of a platform. So obviously you're doing block pull. Start off of a block, because that's probably what it is, even to start off.
Yeah. I would say probably in the last 4 to 5 years, I reckon I've trained deadlifts 30 times, because every time I start getting into it, bang.
Mate, tell me why you need to do them from the floor. Why?
Because I enjoy it. Because to be honest, I was really I am. I'm really into powerlifting as well. My whole life, I've been into strength sports my whole life. So,
thing is,
like when you pull a certain number or do something on a like maybe a 2-inch block, you say, like when people ask you, oh, how much do, you can't answer it, or you have to answer it, oh, but with a 2-inch block.
Yes. I've let go of the ego a little bit in that sense, what you're talking about, but still I can't. If I've reverse banded something, or if I've pulled off a block, there's no way I'm tearing it. No way.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I don't know. And as I say, I'm not trying to impress anyone else. I just genuinely enjoy it. The idea of ripping 300 off the floor, just like easy. I love that idea, but I just can't do it. I just can't.
But I reckon you could do though. I reckon if you were to do off of a block, you could do it for 10, like Dan.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, I could get there quite easily, but I know
because I thought that until I started pulling off blocks, and now my lower back doesn't hurt. Like, and I'm like, oh, I can progress that every fucking week.
Do you know what they made? Like, again, I've given in to peer pressure because I went through a phase of doing SLDLs off like a little block, and it felt amazing. I started doing that because my lower lumbar felt a little bit exposed. I was kind of feeling it towards those failure reps. So I thought, you know what, if I was just 2 inches up, I could probably hinge into that a little bit better, fit into it better, because I'm a longer legged guy. And I was putting good numbers up, and again, being dictated by the numbers. And like Greg was head and head with me, and there was a bit of a competition, but he would always say, yeah, but you're off 2-inch blocks, not taking into account my height difference to him. And then out of peer pressure, I've gone, right, fuck the blocks off. I'm going to just pull, and I do pull what I do off the little block anyway. It's just I do get the same numbers to do that, but I know I'm probably about 2 sessions away from actually potentially pulling something, because there was a reason why I started pulling off little blocks, but I seem to forget about it because I'm going, oh, I can't call it a deadlift. So
technically, Ryan, you can pull off what, 5-inch blocks, and you'll be the same height as Dan.
Literally.
Right. So if I do 5-inch blocks and then I do a 350 for what? How many?
I've done 360 for 6.
There you go.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, maybe not.
Pick something else.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I think it's quite late. I'm going to bed. All right.
Quitting bodybuilding.
Yeah, but mate, where does that translate to stage? I know you're older, but you're PCA Universe champ, and you got a PCA Pro card. I haven't got that. Again,
in time you will. In time. Yeah, in time. The thing is, I've managed to build my back is arguably my best thing on stage. So I managed to work it around it. You know, you find ways to work for you. And,
So
thing is, this is one thing that I want to ask you about, Dan. Have you seen how Ryan does his barbell row? Because you do it similar to him.
I don't, but I know how I do it. I hang and I pause in the hole with each rep.
No, as in a way, like you do a lot of weight, Ryan does a lot of weight. He gets a lot of. People take the piss, and
I was on the form police back in the day.
Me too, on a barbell incline.
I went up to a 280 kilogram barbell row, but it was swinging, mate. It was swinging. But I would say that I can do like 220 for a good 8 to 10, pretty strict.
Yeah, so when I'm doing a barbell row, I hang over and between every rep, I'll hold it in the hole for 2 seconds. Then
hold on a minute. Hold on. You literally do like a right angle, so your legs to your body. Okay,
so that's the opposite then.
Yeah, I'm more like this angle.
I'm like that.
But I can do a lot of weight. I think that's what he's getting at.
So it's more like a pendlay row, but without like the stop on the floor.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, literally, it's like bend, like fully, but like because I've seen you do a lot. You do like 5 plates or something, don't you?
I've done 5 plates. I can't do it now.
That's interesting.
That's like a proper, what you'd call a proper.
But look, that's what I mean. Like, Ryan, you've got a strong body part in your back, and I bet like you could do a leg press and feel the fibers in your lats. Like the connection is so good.
Yes.
To me, I guess to you, when you're doing that barbell row, you come off that barbell row and you're thinking, "Fucking hell, my back is pumped."
100%, mate. Yeah. You've got that body part. It just works, doesn't it? It just works.
Yeah. I remember Jordan was talking about Sasan for this. It's like he would touch anything with his legs and they just blow up. Like the connection's on.
Yeah, 100%. I find anything that I do upper body, to be honest with you, I have a delt pump as well. I think you said that about Romana as well. My delts just pump. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like
my delts and traps pump.
Yeah.
It's weird. I'll be training arms and my delts are, I don't know.
Yeah, but like when you look at like your stage shots, when you're hitting the most muscular, your delts are like fucking loud as well.
Yeah.
And rear delts as well from behind.
When I do a back
you can see the front delt.
Yeah, when I do a back double, my front delt is like, it's weird. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but that probably explains as well why your chest is like a weaker body part.
Yes. That's why I can bench
strong.
Every time I was bench pressing, it was all just delt basically. But no.
Did you ever bench a lot, Dan?
I had never got into flat benching really. I've done 4 plates narrow grip, like for triceps. I used to love that.
Yeah.
I've done that actually a little bit more recently, but I only went at 3 plates because it was my first time again. But the connection I get with like a narrow grip press is fucking unreal. But in terms of flat press, no.
I bet that's a bit safer as well. For like a lot of people find pec issues with bench, but when you're a bit more narrow, it's not as bad, right?
Literally, I feel it because it's for my triceps. I guess there's a little bit of crossover because your pec is not getting into that lengthen range like it would be on a bench press. So you're usually rotators that go. Your rotator cuff is not under as much exposure to load. But with an aero grip bench press, man, I get the connections unreal. If you just control that eccentric on the way down, it's like literally loading up a pin and then exploding again. It feels unreal. But in terms of like an actual barbell press for chest, no. I got into incline barbell though.
Yeah.
I never did chest until October.
Yeah, she didn't train chest till October because apparently females don't train chest.
Figure
females
doesn't train chest.
Yeah, it's still important for figure, no?
Yeah, it just wasn't my previous coach. It just wasn't programmed. It was
she's saying that she should have been training it, but she wasn't.
Hold on, but isn't there that pose? You know that one where you go like this?
The women's physique, but not for figure.
Ah, okay, sorry.
Jack, who you competed against at PCA Exeter.
Yes.
I came back from Budapest, having done a figure show and trained push with Jack for the first time I'd ever really trained push. Put myself in such a hole. I was stuck like this for about 3 weeks, just like a full retard, and like my chest was just in bits.
If you're not used to it, that's going to fuck you up. I'd say when I do close grip, like you just mentioned, it's basically just delts for me.
I bet
my front delts just take everything.
Yeah, I think there's likely what leads into us having strong body parts as well is going to be your biomechanical biases, the way your body's put together, in which your body kind of biases certain leverages to use. So when you're doing a narrow grip press, because the way you're structurally put together, your body's like, well, we're using all delt for this anyway.
Absolutely, 100%. Chudley, with you,
wouldn't you? Because obviously we spoke about the range of motion. At that point, wouldn't you benefit from shortening that range of motion?
It depends what you in the narrow grip bench.
So don't come all the way down.
Yeah. in that instance.
But you're not getting, to me, if you're having to do that, it's not an effective exercise for you, for that specific.
Oh, yeah, I guess you could argue that. Yeah.
The being is because you're coming down and you're trying to obviously use your tricep to bicep exercise. You're coming down, you're not getting the tricep into a fully lengthened position.
No, you're not.
So what was the point of you doing that anyway? Because you're defeating the goal, because you're just, I just don't see the.
But it's a really good way of overloading the shortened range, though, isn't it? It's a really good way of overloading the lockout.
Yeah, but at the expense of what? When you're in the full lockout, you're literally putting so much tension on the AC joint in your shoulder, you're potentially going to be wear and tear anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want to put the tricep into the full shortened range, and that's what you're going to bias, how about we do, say, a machine dip and we hold that peak contraction for a 2 count?
Yeah, I guess it's exercise specific. That's obviously where it comes to.
And then we have subsidiary exercises, isolation exercises for triceps, in which we can then again at the start of the session we could do an extension and again bias putting that tricep through the shortened range for a 2-second peak. Then towards the end of the session, put it through the lengthen for longer.
Yeah.
So if you're doing, say, overhead tricep presses, overhead tricep extensions, in that overhead, how about we hold that for a 2 or 3 count, fully lengthening the tricep, then extend out, but just don't spend as long in the shortened.
Yeah, so do a bit of both.
To me, that would be a lot less wear and tear. But then again, bodybuilding, right?
Or if you've got,
I was going to say it's not as fun though, is it? Because you can load up the prep. Yeah.
Exactly. I know what I'd rather do. I'd rather press shit.
Or if you've got a decent machine that doesn't actually wreck your joints, like we've got this. You mentioned about the Paramount tricep extension, mate. It's unreal.
Yeah. I've used that as well. It's fucking great.
Mate, that's like kit selection. Like, as I say, if I am moving all my kit up here, but I've got to wait till like November, December till I make that happen. When it's my kit, it's so predictable because the quality of it.
Are you putting it in the gym?
Yeah.
Someone's going to look after it for you, or
so it's a friend and client, Joe, who owns Bodywise. We're going to reface it completely. It needs a total face job to kind of bring it back to its glory. We're taking out the kit I don't like, putting in the kit I do like. Tetris, gym Tetris, make it all fit. Then
how do you feel about people using your personal kit?
How do I feel about it?
Because you're going to have just random people that don't respect the kit. So in my gym, if someone wants to come in, they have to first come in for a day pass for them to see that they're not just going to just be like dickheads with a kit.
One, me and Joe, we are going to write up a contract in putting things right. And 2, we are going to have to really stamp down on the way people look after kit, because I'm going to make sure of that as well. That's the best I can do, mate, because I'm in the situation where I legit need my kit. Like, if I had my kit, and it sounds like a bullshit excuse, if I had my kit to train legs today, I would not have had an issue with my knees.
I think Ryan doesn't believe in kit. He thinks it don't matter.
No. I don't think it matters. I can't say that I align with you fully on it. I think that I can get a great session in no matter what.
No, you reckon you can get just as good a session in the Pure Gym or the Matrix kit as you can in... Because we've had this argument before.
Yeah, I would honestly say if I had to train at Pure Gym, I don't want to, but if I had to, I could get just as good a workout in. Yeah, I do believe that.
I'm very, very fucked. So there are, like, has anyone used a Watson pendulum here?
Oh, mate.
Awful.
Fucking horrible.
Now,
painful.
Get on with it.
Can you tell me, like, what exercise for quads would you get on with really well?
Yeah, pendulum.
Like, what pendulum?
I don't even know which one it is at my gym. So this is the thing. I don't even know what it is. No, it's not Atlantis.
A hack is for me. I go on the hack.
Let's call it a Paramount pendulum because it's the best. It's the best pendulum. Let's say you've got a Paramount pendulum. Now, you have an option of training on the Watson and the Paramount.
Oh.
Now, are you telling me you're going to get just as good a session on the Watson as you do the Paramount? Because I know I can get on the Paramount, no knee issues. I can get on the Watson, I can't do shit.
Okay, well, all I would do would be adapt the load. So I'll just use a bit less, maybe slow down the reps.
Because that pendulum, that because I've got a Watson in one of the gyms like nearby, and I can't go on it. And I've argued with the owner. I said to him, look, this hack squat is just garbage. It's not even it's not even not a little bit not okay. No, it's fucking shit. And he's like, no, it's good. I'm like, no, it's not. No matter what you say, it's just fucking shit.
Yeah. So the Watson pendulum, I will literally no weight at all get down into the hole. It feels like my knee is going to ping off and be on the wall.
Can you not just step up a tiny bit more?
I have to put my feet really high up on the plate.
So exactly, yeah.
Back as well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it's individual. Like I can't even do that.
I can't either.
So what I'd do is I'd step up a bit and I'd lower the load. I'd lighten the load and I'll just slow down the eccentrics. And I'm not saying it's as good. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
but on the way down, it doesn't feel as good. It feels.
I agree.
But we step up now. We step up the pendulum, and let's say we're trying to bias our quads in this movement. Yeah. We've now got less knee over toe flexion than we'd otherwise get, and now my glutes and my hams are dominating because my glutes want to take over everything anyway.
I didn't find that. It was full on burn on my quads.
Yeah, all right, but are you glute dominant? No, exactly. You're not.
Trying to be. Trying my hardest.
Let's say we have a body part. We have a body part that wants to take over everything, and now we have to adapt our way just to use a machine. And now it's going to be glute dominant, and already glute dominant. It wants to do everything.
Yeah. So for me, my quads aren't. They don't love to grow. They don't love it. Like I have to really fucking force it. So if I put my feet up, then yeah.
I bet you, Ryan, if you were to come in and try this sideways leg press,
I've used it. I've used it. Yeah, I've used it. I'm not saying it's not better. I'm not. I'm saying if I have to, I can still make it fucking work.
I used to be very much like that until Dan and I got together. I was just like, kit's kit. Just get in, just shut up and get in and use it. But now I'm like, oh, okay, that is wank and that's wank. And that's also, yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah,
I don't disagree with you guys. I just think I'm probably slightly less, like if there was like a spectrum, I'm more towards. Yeah,
I'm still probably a bit towards with you, Ryan, because if I've got a limited amount of time in between my shift, I still back on to my usual gym with the kit that isn't quite so good and try and fuck myself up with that.
100%.
If my gym's shut, I just won't train.
Do you know what? Dave, that is so fucking true, because I reckon that me and Dave are overthinkers. These two aren't.
You've met me, right?
in a different way. In a different way. So me and Dave, like if we are going into a session already dreading the kit we're going to work on, I reckon our knee or our knees or whatever it is automatically goes, I'm fucking hurting already. You ain't even done anything. I think it's more up there. It's more psychological. I reckon.
Yeah, as you're driving, your knees like, oh.
You know, when people go, oh, I'm going like off to say, I don't know, somewhere, I'm going to go to such and such gym. Like, I couldn't think of anything worse than going to a different gym with different kit. That stresses me out.
You know what this says to me? This says to me, autistic.
Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know. I think I'm more autistic than you. Just think you're picky.
Like, hey, I'm not even mocking you. I think you might.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
I think spoiled is the word.
To the bar, like I bought my own deadlift bar in the gym because I wanted a deadlift bar, a certain one. So I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking buy it because I want to train on this bar.
Dave, we need to build a gym. Like we can just train together and we'll be all right.
Yeah.
And you just catch me and Romana at Pure Gym. It's all right.
I wouldn't let. Yeah.
I think for me, it was like I didn't know any better. I started bodybuilding in Dorset, and I don't know if you're overly familiar. There's a.
I used to live in Southampton.
Sorry.
I'm from Southampton.
Yeah. So it's Bournemouth. So
yeah.
Majestic in Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm. I know it. Yeah.
Trained there for
John Isaac.
Sorry.
John Isaac.
Oh yeah. I think I know.
Guy who owns it.
A B. We just know him as B.
Oh, okay. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, John, shorter guy.
Yeah.
So I trained there, and then I trained at South Coast Powerhouse, but I still didn't know the kit, what the kit was, and like then I trained at literally like a leisure centre for ages until I moved to Exeter, and then it's still like a gym full of Watson kit, which I thought was great when I moved down to Exeter. I was like, this gym's fantastic.
Yeah. I for years I did up until my first show I made it up to there, like the shape I was in back then. That was all Pure Gym. I was okay. I mean, I was younger and I was smaller, but I was okay.
I think once you get exposed to decent kit, you can't go back from that.
But
I'm getting that way.
Ryan, as well, when you were younger training in Pure Gym, I bet you had less injuries.
Yeah.
I bet. And so imagine now with all your aches and niggles that you've no doubt got,
Yep.
going back there and trying to...
Yeah. You know, the Matrix hack in Pure Gym, it gives me fucking nightmares.
Yeah.
Oh, man, my knees. Woo!
See, I got a grudge against Pure Gym for tearing my pec because I had to walk into Pure Gym that time to train, and I had to do chest. And I'm like, well, the dumbbells only go up to 50 kilos. So what the fuck am I going to do here? So I thought I'm going to flat barbell bench. I hadn't flat barbell benched in like months. So I went and did like 3 plates and like on the 12th rep or like some shit. My pec just tore.
Yeah, and if it
I
wasn't
got a grudge against Pure Gym for that.
Yeah, you're only in there by default.
That's their fault. That's their fault for not having a strive press. Fuckers, basically.
Do them, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's a terrible.
Well, anyway, let's get a conclusion on that. So, believe it or not, we were talking about ego lifting. We went round the houses, but yeah. So, ego lifting in room 101, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. And that will conclude
I
today,
think
unless you've
we,
got something else for us.
Yeah.
I think we actually opened up quite like a good amount of different points to discuss.
100%.
And I think I really wanted to kind of explore that reps in reserve point, because all the people that we brought on, like Dan and like just like everyone else, they're kind of like, yeah, fuck that shit, you know? So to actually bring someone on that still doesn't train like that, but can bring a point to kind of explain it is really good.
I want you guys to ask Joe, get him on the podcast, because I want to hear his side of. I hear it a lot anyway. Like if we do talk about it and whatnot, but like I have a lot of respect for Joe. I think he's incredible. I think he's so smart. Just in that situation, I think it's a perfect storm for it not to work for myself. But you know, there is a reason for it, and I've tried to hear it out. I'm just of the opinion that rather than allowing voices to convince your opinion, I'd rather just do and find out for myself.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I went in with a total open mind to the whole reps and reserve mesocycle process, because I said, look, fuck it. There's a reason everyone's doing it. I'm going to just try. And if I'm right, it's bullshit, then I'm right. And that was probably the problem as well. I went into it beforehand thinking it's probably bullshit.
Yeah, so maybe, you say you went in there with an open mind, but it was an open mind with a bias. So if you could have gone completely clear.
But saying that, I couldn't recover between sessions. I got weaker and I got smaller anyway. Whether that's psychological, I don't think so.
Well, it doesn't sound great, mate. If you got weaker, you couldn't recover, and you had 2 fucking however long off. Fuck that.
And by week 4, I had no mind-muscle connection. So what was I even training?
But still, it's really good because you come from an angle that we never tried it. So it's good that you've got that experience to bring it in.
Yeah. Be interesting to get Joe on though, for sure. If you choose to try.
We're gonna get on. I'm not sure if you know him, Alex Williams. He is one of Joe's clients. So he we'll get him on. He can talk about.
Has anybody like started with reps reserve, still does reps reserve now, and is like big?
So this is it. I don't know a single person that's like big that does that.
Nichols is big, but he doesn't come from that background. A lot of his size has come from just traditional training like we do.
A lot of dudes who are doing a certain method now, that's not how they got there. You know, so Jamie Jahal started preaching a certain method because I actually went with him as a coach. It didn't go very well, but anyway, I went with him and he was preaching like progressive overload. It had to be low volume, it had to be this. But how he got there to his fucking ginormous size was all through high volume. So it was a bit like...
Well, it's because it depends who's being coached by at the time. So if it's JP, you'll listen to JP.
They just...
Milos, you'll listen to Milos. So, you know, it's kind of like...
Yeah.
Whereas Dan, it sounds like you take the knowledge and you adapt it to the client. It's not like, well, this is the only way.
Mate, I'm sure people are calling me a coach hopper or whatever you want to call me, but I'm also a coach trying to run a professional business. I need to learn as much as possible from as many minds as possible. I'm actually working with Tom Hames now, and Tom doesn't take control of my training for the pure reason that I've actually pretty much done everyone's fucking method. I just refuse to pay for Milos's because I don't want to do the drugs. I've seen the drugs. And
the insulin.
I don't want to do the drugs.
Yeah.
Not that many.
Well, it's similar to SAS, isn't it? SAS doesn't do your training. He just lets you get on.
I took guidelines of SAS because I wanted to try it.
What is he? Is he quite like bro split?
High volume, bro split, whatnot.
Yeah. He coaches my mate Lucas. You know who he is. He trains up here. Lucas Wilson. He trains up here in one of the gyms.
Sasan kind of, he gives guidelines, but you end up adapting it and kind of finding your way. And I think Lucas has a really good way of knowing his body.
Yeah.
You know, he's smart. He's good.
Which I think at this point you should. Like, if you've been training for 10 plus years, you should do.
That's a guy, tell you what, that's a fine example of a guy who's got a fucking wicked physique. And he only did his first show this year. He's not thinking road to pro, is he?
He's got every right to say it as well because he's ridiculous.
Yeah, he is.
Mate, I see him pretty much, not every day, but like for the most part. And he's so like, just
within 2 or 3 years, he'll have a pro card. Easy.
I think so.
But he's going to go for it, obviously, hopefully next year, I reckon. You'll try.
Well, the same show as me then.
Say
again?
What are you doing, Ryan?
I'm going to go for IFBB Pro card as well, but I'm going to do a PCA Pro show.
Are you all right?
I want to try and do both. Try to anyway. But to be honest, I don't really trust two bros. We talked about this in the last podcast. I feel like I'm going to go abroad and do it.
Are you aware of the meeting that occurred in February?
Go on.
From the IFBB, where they summoned us to London with 2 weeks' notice, and it was all about, they were talking as if every IFBB pro is a coach, is their full-time job, which pissed me off because I drove for 3 hours to sit and listen to something that's completely irrelevant to me. But they were basically saying, as an IFBB pro, you need to not push your clients towards PCA or FitX or anything like that. You need to be, pushing your clients towards two bro shows. It's just,
okay. So it could definitely politically affect me.
I don't know but then Dean White. He did.
Yeah. Josh Maley as well. Josh Maley was as well.
Yeah.
Like, Ryan, you're going to have to do a qualifier at Two Bros Regional. That's not going to be an issue for you at all, because I was pondering, so I'm going to compete again next year at some point. My first thing, as I said, I want to win a PCA men's open show. I want to do the British. I would like to do well at the British in the men's open. That's my simple goal. And the cherry on top for me is Romana's doing her first set of WPD pro shows in November. I would love to go with her next year. I would love to go with her and compete with her in Europe. But for me to do that, I'm going to have to do a qualifier in Two Bros country. But if I was in your scenario going for a pro card, personally, I would literally do what you're doing, is do the qualifier in this country, then go abroad and try and get it there.
Absolutely, mate.
Now you don't even, you can just go in at like off-season look. That's what most people do.
Yeah, man. Sure. Like,
I'm only going to get the qualification.
Yeah. I feel like though, I'm worried that I'm going to take a hit. So let's say I do a qualifier and don't win it, then I'm going to be like, well, if I can't even win a qualifier, why the fuck?
You just have to do the qualifier, Ryan. You don't have to win the qualifier to be able to go into a pro qualifier. You just have to do the qualifier. Yeah,
I know, but what I'm saying is, not ego, mentally, my confidence is going to take a hit.
Yeah, I see what you mean,
mate. I was just about to say before you said that, Johnny Mack, bless him. I feel so sorry for him. 2 years in a row, he should have won that pro card. Everyone there saw it. 2 years in a row now.
This year.
Yeah, this year as well. I think he should have won.
I don't know. Based on photos, I was unsure. On photos, I was like,
personally, the thing I think that let him down was the guy that won's glutes were enormous, and Johnny's glutes look smaller because of how big his legs are.
But I think there's a crossover there. We've got to judge criteria where muscularity and conditioning comes into it, and he had both of those over this other guy. I know there's other things, but I just feel like he was overwhelming.
Well, I'm now starting to judge for the PCA. I don't know if you guys do that, but so I've done my first show, yeah. And what I'm realizing more and more, it's very much about structure. Structure is very heavily weighted. Okay. Now that guy who got the pro card, your eye is drawn to him because he's got those small joints, long muscle bellies. He's very bubbly. So the eye is drawn to him because of that. It's not just condition. It's not just muscularity. It's kind of like the whole package.
I see the argument why he won. I don't think it was lights out. But again,
no, I think it was tough.
Bodybuilding is subjective.
Yes.
And for me, when I see someone fucking huge and peeled, my eyes get drawn to Johnny. And that's probably self-bias.
Yeah,
there's also the love for Johnny. Like liking him as a person and as an athlete. Whereas I've not known Johnny as long, and I know him to say hello to, but I don't.
I mean, a lot of people said that. It's not just you, Dan. I think a lot on social media, because that's all we can judge for, because we weren't there.
We were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm talking.
Yeah.
So based off of that, a lot of people are obviously upset about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have got an opinion, but unless you're there fully, it's really fucking hard to tell. Photos and videos aren't the same as being there.
Yeah, Ryan. So you're going to be judging with PCA. Are you going to be doing something similar to Do Bros? Like, have I got a PayPal account that I can?
Thick
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll drop you my details in a bit, mate. And you know what? Like, it's funny you say you've got to try and remove all of your own individual bias, because I'm always looking for condition. But what I've realized in judging is I'm seeing people are being rewarded for like general structure according to the criteria of that category. It really, really matters. I saw people who were
who's the guy we spoke to at the PCA show? What was that? Was that Birmingham?
Yeah,
we spoke to the judge. Who was it?
Who was judging at Birmingham, did you say?
No, we spoke to one of the judges outside. Me and you.
What, PCA?
Anyway, we asked him. So, are you biased in any way?
Sean.
Oh, Sean. I know Sean. He's on Full Bore, same as me.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah, that's one.
So you asked him, didn't you? You asked him.
Yeah, definitely. You have to remove bias. You fucking what matters more is your integrity and how seriously you're taken. If you're someone who's just going to be crediting people who you know or your friends, you got no chance. You're just get rid of you straight away.
At PCA Exeter, Guy Harding was one of the judges.
Oh yeah,
he's got loads of clients, so he was up and down like a frigging yo-yo, walking out the room when one of his clients was on stage.
Were you at the PCA Exeter show as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise that.
Don't tell Two Bros. Yeah, Jack. I was supporting Jack.
That's the one he won, wasn't it? Well, I had someone in that show. I can't remember who it was.
What I found quite good was Dan McNabb had two people in that show as well, but he was still supporting me, which was really, really, really nice. I was against people that he was coaching, but he was still supporting me. It was like pretty cool.
Yeah, man, when you're about bodybuilding, you end up being that way.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being backstage at FitX and Nat and Daryl just ready, pumping up. And there's a few younger lads there just helping them, just getting them calm, getting them settled. Just because you just fucking love bodybuilding. You want someone to have a good experience on stage.
I love that. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, well, I'm not fucking, I've done my job as a coach. They are ready. There's no mind games involved. They just need to go on stage and enjoy. And if there's somebody that literally needs my help, whether it's a touch up a glaze or anything, of course I'm going to help. Like,
100%. Yeah, 100%. And backstage, the camaraderie between athletes. Jack is a great guy. Like, the camaraderie was amazing. Like, it just felt really, really. I don't know. Every show that I've ever been to has been that way.
Yeah.
That's what I want to ask you, like, Romana. Obviously, guys, that's for guys. But do women have the same, or is it a little bit touchier?
So, like, the first show I did, I was like, oh my God, it's because it's so based on aesthetics, coming from the CrossFit background and knowing what female CrossFitters are like, fucking hell, they're like cutthroat. Look at them in the wrong way and they're like, it might change now, but it felt really bitchy. in the CrossFit world. So I had envisions of this at my first show. But there's women that I met at that first show that I still follow on Instagram, and every now and then we're back and forth. When I went abroad, that was like another kettle of fish, because it's like not speaking the language in the middle of a pandemic on prep. And met this South African woman who was sharing her pineapple with me backstage, because like I didn't have anything to carb up on before going on stage. So it's very much the same from the sounds of things.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I tell you, the only time that I used to feel very much negative, well, I did a power meet back in 2018, and Trevor, you were there. I didn't feel the same camaraderie then between powerlifters. It just didn't feel the same.
I wonder if it's because with bodybuilding, all the hard work's done. When you step on stage, there isn't actually anything more you can do other than pose your ass off. There isn't actually more you can do. Whereas there's that still really highly strong element of competitiveness where you're performing a skill in front of judges.
Good point. Good point.
And I think Ryan is because like we turned up to the meet and the guy was like, "So what's your openers?" He goes to Ryan. He's like, "I'll open with like 300," and he's like, everyone's like opening with like 200, 180, and Ryan's like, "I'm gonna open with 300." So everyone looks at him like.
Yeah, well, do you know what it was? Because I was a bodybuilder and like I didn't fit in with them. Like, you know, I still had abs and stuff. They all like had their power bellies. It very much felt like they were like, they didn't take me seriously. They whatever.
Hey, that might have something to do with like at meet day, the amount of check drops they're swallowing.
Yeah,
they're a bit angry.
Yeah,
I can sympathise for that though. But like, mate, when a bodybuilder is strong, there seems to be a problem when they're in powerlifting.
100%.
Mate, like I make a point of saying, look, I'm strong for a bodybuilder. I'm not legit strong, but I'm still stronger than most powerlifters in any gym, and that makes them feel like shit.
Hey, hold on a minute. You're not strong for a bodybuilder. 360 for 6, even if it's off blocks. That's crazy.
Well, you just broke that deadlift in that gym, didn't you? 360. That was a 360, wasn't it?
Yeah, I needed a single because why don't you do a single that way?
Because the plate fell off. He put it down, went to pick it up again, and the cuffs just literally.
No, that was I did that in 2 gyms. That was the other gym.
Oh,
but the first one, Lou's PB gym, which is awesome gym in Wales.
That one. Yeah.
That is like a powerlifting gym.
A 360 deadlift is strong no matter who you are. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I look up to people who are like, fucking sounds silly, but like Eddie Hall's deadlifted 500 kilos. And I know I'm not in that realms, but it puts the realms of possibility in what's possible.
I don't know about you, but when I deadlift, I look at Eric Lillibridge pull, and the way he shifts weight, just when he takes the slack off the bar, it's like just mental.
Eric Lillibridge wasn't that good at deadlifting though, compared to his squat.
Still had like a 900 odd deadlift.
I don't know if it was, mate. Eric Lillibridge, because he squats 485, but his deadlift was like 370 or something, or 380.
Nah, bro, he's done more.
No. I don't know. Yeah, I know you're about when he rips it the first bit before. Yeah.
It just looks stupid.
But again, that goes back to like probably what we've been exposed to. That you might train at a gym, there was some strong, ridiculous guy, and that's the standard. So again, like I trained in a gym where Luke was in there a lot, Jordan was in there a lot, and like seeing the stuff they were doing was fucking mad. Like
I don't know about you, but like when I first started out, it was literally I got told, look, you got to get strong, and you got to get strong at bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press, and that's all I've done. Which I'm glad that I did that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm just paying for it today.
I'm gonna say, wait till you're fucking in your 30s as well. My God, fuck.
Mate, I was gonna ask you, like, you deal with knee pain, you must do.
Yeah.
Anything you do about it? Because I'm fucking at wit's end right now.
Right. By the sounds of it, yours is actually worse than mine. Mine's mildish. As long as I just take my time warming up, I'm usually okay. Right. So when I go in the gym, I'll go, it's not on today. I'll feel like I can't do anything. By the time I've done maybe 3, 4, 5 warm-up sets, it's okay.
What does your exercise order look like for legs?
Usually start hamstring curls, adductor, hamstring curls, and then into the first big movement. So it'll be like a pendulum or hack. typically.
You won't go leg extension before those, try and prove fatigue at all.
I actually feel like the leg extension hurts more.
Okay.
Yeah, so especially on the eccentric part of it, it feels shit. So what I found is if I just go into the pendulum, let's say, by the time I'm 3 or 4 warm-ups in, I'm okay.
That sounds like it's just a different knee issue.
Do you get massage done?
Not enough, mate.
That's one. I haven't skipped a single week in the last 2 years of massage. And I find that helps a lot. So anytime, because I'll get them occasionally, and I'll get my IT bands massage. I'll get certain other stuff done. Mate, that sorts anything out. Also, how much mobility do you do?
I'm dragging him to yoga.
So,
mate, yoga's tough.
I find
Brilliant.
Whenever I get knee problems, it's to do with the ankle. So I'll get like a band, I'll loop it, and I'll just do an out ankle mobility exercise. So basically it's like a lunge, but with your foot planted on the floor.
Again, I know the answers to my knee problems, but it's do as I say, not as I do. When I was best with my knee issues, I was stretching my quads regularly, getting regular massage, regular work. I was my morning cardio recumbent bike helps. Then straight after cardio, I would do a heel elevated body weight squat, just pump reps to failure. That strengthens up the tendons because the eccentrics are just really good for that. And I'd Theragun my quads after, then I'd stretch again. I was just bang on it, and it's just doing it. And after today, I'm fed up. I need to stop being lazy.
I think that's basically it, mate. You get to a point where you can't be fucked to feel that way anymore, and you're just I have to do it.
So we brought up this point with Tom, and I said to him, if I didn't do that, I couldn't physically train. If I didn't do all the mobility and the stuff, yes, it's boring. Yes, it takes time, but at the expense of me actually being able to train properly. I have no knee, touch wood, no knee issues, and I put that down to exactly that.
And mate, look at your quads; they're fantastic.
I just think yes, it's boring, but it's just a must.
Yeah, and that's it, Dan. I think by the sounds of things, that's one thing in your training that's really lagging behind. Not saying that you've got lagging legs, but what then is
I do.
But you don't seem to be able to push it like you want. So you know the answer, man. You know the answer.
And also, I think I need to change my mindset going into legs. I need to stop being attached to this feeling that I've got to do certain things. Because my legs actually do really respond when I can train them. But I will do a few sessions where I'm just literally eking every aspect out of my muscle connection, tempos, higher rep ranges. I'll get a good amount of sessions, no knee pain. I'll do something silly. Now I can't actually train them properly for 3-4 weeks. And I've literally, today, I couldn't do anything for quads apart from leg extensions.
If there's one thing you should, maybe dropping weight. I'm not saying dropping ego, but drop weight and just really focus on what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Mate,
I think massage is the first thing that would sort a lot of those problems out. Anytime I get my IT bands massaged out, mate, the difference that makes is honesty. Yeah, massive difference.
Yeah, mate, again, stuff I know as well, and it's just my own getting caught up with work. There's not enough hours in the day, but if you care about this enough, you will do it.
Yeah, man, you're 26, you've still got another 15 years in this sport if you want it. And that might sound ridiculous, but you fucking have. But you need to be smart with it now, because what you do now is going to affect you in years to come. So
part of our problem as well is I live in what's best described as a postage stamp, and there's us two and 2 dogs. So there's zero room. In your place, you've got all your cardio kit in your living room or a little walk away. Here, it's half an hour drive to the gym. You're then at the gym where you get every Tom, Dick and Harry wanting to have a chat with the biggest guy in the gym. So you're there for half an hour before you've even got on to doing your cardio. And then it's half an hour drive back or more because it's now 9 o'clock and you got stuck in traffic. Is
that the closest gym to you that you've got?
We've got a Pure Gym, which I've kind of tried.
Yeah, but that's good though, because I go to a Pure Gym. I get up in the morning, I'll go to Pure Gym, I'll do 20 minutes of cardio, all my stretches. I'll come back. It's literally 2 minutes from my house, and I have my first meal. Then I'll get ready and go train. But Pure Gym does the job for that purpose.
Yeah. 2 things I'm doing. I'm calling Steve. We need to get a massage once a week at least, and I'm getting a Pure Gym membership.
No one will talk to you.
Like when we move, we're moving into our new property this month now, isn't it?
Yes.
Fucking hell, it's this month. And which I can have all my cardio kit back. And it's literally having that time. I'm not saying I don't do cardio now, because I do, but my cardio at the minute is a fasted walk with Manu, which is it's good because he gets an extra walk, but it's not doing my knees any good. So when I've got my cardio kit, that will then persuade me to actually lay on the mat after, stretch out after it, do all my exercises. If you haven't got that window in the morning, it's not really much persuading you. Just sit in your living room and start stretching.
Man, and look how much this shit means to you. You're clearly well read. You know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about. So just apply that again into this. It means a lot to you. So fucking get to it, man.
Again,
It's a lot easier when you're dieting as well. When you're dieting, everything's like on point.
Yes.
When you go into an off season and you think, oh,
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So true. So true. Wow.
For that reason alone, I can't wait to get back into it, because at the moment, I just feel like everything's slacking. Like right now, I've got fucking 3 meals to eat.
Too.
Yeah, but Ryan, your test is at like 0.5, so
it's back in again now. It's back in again.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're in the shit now, you know.
For us, it's more just frustrating because
Yes.
I wasted time. But
Like if my fem test wasn't what it was, I'd be in a world.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One or the other. I'd either be lying on the sofa, not wanting to move, and the world being great because my hormones have just tanked, or be asking to borrow his razor. You know, it's that's the kind of thing where you're like, all right, this is fucking people up seriously now.
Dangerous.
Yeah, that's why it's just trusting. And again, because a lot of people say, oh yeah, but I know my guy though. He's sound. He doesn't even know.
Well, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
That's right. I thought my guy was cool. He's still cool. It wasn't his fault. But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He probably doesn't even know.
No.
He doesn't think, oh, I'm going to give Mackins the shit gear so it stays small.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to continue the podcast on too long. It's been on for a long time, but something I potentially put in 101 is getting gear off that guy in the gym.
Yeah, the dude who's like, "Hey, mush, we want to fucking try a bit of this, mate."
Yeah.
Like, oh.
1 mil.
Life cycle, but a bit of trend.
Oh, God.
Yeah, man. You'll know that fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got one.
But Dan, it's been really good to have you on the podcast. I've said to Ryan for a long time that we wanted to get you on because there's a lot of useful stuff that you can, that we can get from you. So thank you for coming on.
Sorry, I gate crashed. It was either that or sit in the bedroom.
Hey,
2 hours.
at least you don't have to say oh, Dan Bastick. You can say also IFBB Pro, and it looks like you're going to draw in views. It looks good.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Catch you later.
No worries, guys.
See you later on.